just me and my plants. It's just me and my plants. Sometimes I water them. Sometimes I walk around the yard and show my daughter them. It's just me and my plants. I'm in the gardening. They call me soft, but all these bars I still go hard in them. It's just me and my plants. Sometimes I water them. Sometimes I walk around the yard and show my daughter them. It's just me and my plants.
All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to People of PlantCon, our podcast that introduces you to the humans behind PlantCon. I'm Kenny Kong, founder and president of PlantCon, and your host of this very special podcast. We're going to start the season and series by introducing you to our directors, and we're all actually on site right now, prepping for PlantCon Dallas, coming to you live straight from our hotel. Our next director has only been a director for about 8 months now and has absolutely been through the ringer. She actually took over what used to be my responsibility, so I have a profound appreciation to her for taking this over for me. I no longer have to be a 5'7", 110-pound twink whipping it around in a 26-foot U-Haul. So please do us the butch bitch honor of introducing yourself to our audience, starting with who you are and what you do.
My name is Tay. I am our director of logistics. And I'm our butch bitch director.
Our resident in-house butch bitch. Thank you. How young are you, Miss Butch?
I am 31 years young.
Beautiful. Okay, so that makes Gladys 26, Ava 26, Cam 25, and you 31, and me something. He's a very young director team.
Mm-hmm.
So where did your journey start with this organization leading up to becoming director of logistics? Like, what was the timeline? Fast, slow, the pace?
Pretty quick. I was in our first planternship class. I started in December of last year. And then we did home and garden show in early February, and then PlantCon Orlando late February. And then I was director of logistics by March.
That is actually insane. Yeah. I think you are the poster child that we always talk about to everybody when we talk about how fast things can happen here and how quickly people can move up. Like, it can take literally like 3 months or something for that to happen. And it's just, there's so much opportunity for growth all the time here that just all it takes is like you showing that you have what we need, really, and it can happen so quickly. Can you tell the audience about what the planternship program is and maybe even about the different iterations and how much it changes from time to time?
Yeah. So our planternship program is what our internship program essentially is. It is a class of kind of staff that we bring in for each individual PlantCon. It has changed over each PlantCon we've done this year. My class was definitely the introduction one. For us, our project was doing the PlantCon portion of the home and garden show. So it kind of was a very scaled down version of what a PlantCon was. But I think it gave us a lot of really good experience into what went on at a larger scale. But for our other classes, we've brought them in. They've had to learn very quickly. A big thing is we bring them on site to get that on site experience. And then from there, they learn everything that goes into it pre-event as well. I think the most recent class that we had of planterns definitely was the most, one of the biggest we've had for sure. And then on top of it, the most structured, where we kind of let it almost like college courses where they had projects that directly related to other things that the actual team was doing pre-event, and just to see like with fresh eyes what new ideas they would bring to us.
Yeah, and that was kind of like picking your college major between logistics, operations, admin, or marketing.
And we had people change around as well to get different experiences.
Yeah, and so we do a new planternship cycle for every single PlantCon basically, and so if you're ever curious about what it feels like to be on site with a team organizing a PlantCon, this is really what this program is about. We fly all of our planterns out, pay for the flight and travel. We pay for the hotel room. so that you can really feel like you're a part of the team for the weekend and really experience everything that actually goes on to on-site and learn. And then it also gives you kind of a direct pipeline into our main team. And so whenever we put out like an actual hiring cycle later on, you are at the top of our list to be selected basically to join the team later on. Is there anything else about the Planternship program?
I think just like you mentioned earlier, there's definitely a lot of potential, and it doesn't always go in the direct hierarchy from planternship. We've had people go directly from planterns to being heads of departments. We've had them become managers. We've seen a lot of growth from people. And so even, people that are selected for the planternship, it may not seem like a lot at first. There's a lot of growth opportunity to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think maybe being honest, like the golden age, I think of, I guess moving up in PlantCon has maybe we're still in it, but I think it's starting to pass for sure. Because I think with anything that's PlantCon really is a startup at the end of the day. The only difference is we get no access to venture capital or any kind of funding or investment.
Yeah.
So we start it up ourselves, but in every regard, other than that, it's pretty much a startup. And so with any startup, there's so much room for growth because everything is so new. Things are growing all the time. We constantly need help in different areas. People are also shifting around all the time as well. And so new opportunities constantly open up. But I think like our directors and department heads are now pretty settled and it's kind of nice. It's cool to see that these roles are pretty much settled in. And I think a lot of the managers that we have now were either planterns before or staff members before that moved up as well. And so it's cool starting to see these roles like filled by people with experience. And I think a lot of these people are going to be here for quite a while. But still, I think being a lead or a planter, and you never know what's going to happen. Like it's changing still all the time. And people's life situations are changing all the time. So they might not stick around forever. But I think there definitely was for sure like a very, very, very golden era of PlantCon where you could come in and just do really, really well for like a month or two. And then like we knew that we wanted this person on the team and we wanted them in like a leadership position. So now the planternship program is less oriented around scouting out like talent to move directly onto the team, which wasn't the original purpose of it anyways. The purpose really was to just give people an experience, like a chance to experience PlantCon and just training in like event organization and what it is like to be part of this team. Honestly, I think this team is really cool, really fun to be a part of. And I think it's valuable for people to experience what that's like and hopefully carry that with them when they are looking into like what they want to do in the future, what kind of team they want to be with in the future. If they start something on their own, what kind of team they want to build and carry that with them. But now, it's definitely more about what we wanted to be from the beginning, which is just coming out and like gaining some experience and taking that with you in a way where like we're not expecting really too much in return. Because before it was kind of like, this is almost like an audition for an actual full position.
Right.
And it's much less about that now. But people still care about it as much as they did before. So it's all the same. And if anything, things are getting way more competitive, like the
For sure.
applicants that we've gotten. I don't know if you want to talk about like this past hiring cycle.
Oh, man. Yeah. I mean, this was our biggest application pool that we've ever had. We had over 100 applicants. For the least amount of positions I think that we've ever released, that at least in my experience so far. We had maybe 10 to 15 open positions, including planternship spots. And so it was definitely a like 1 in 10, 1 in 15 people got chosen. And of that pool, we had some very, very experienced and just really, really good people that across the board between personality, culture fit, just general work experience. Like it was very tough making the decisions. And then, in our hiring meetings, the directors, we were play fighting over who got to keep who of people who applied to like multiple departments and stuff like that, which
Yeah.
is always kind of fun to see.
But it's never playing.
Yeah, we're
actually,
always actually fist fighting.
yeah, we're actually very serious about it. It was so competitive this last cycle, and
It
so
was.
that lends itself to like, I don't know, even the planternships and the planterns still being super, super I guess just high caliber.
Yeah.
Because it's so competitive that even the people who we're only able to offer a planternship position for the time being are still like really, really, really qualified, competitive.
Mm-hmm.
It's been cool.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I think that was a big thing with this hiring cycle that we had to kind of get over, was like feeling people were too overly experienced and feeling like we weren't able to give them enough with what we were offering, but still knowing like they applied for a reason, they want to be a part of this for a reason, you know?
yeah, that's been weird. There's still people on this team where I'm like, like, why are you here? I'm like,
Yeah.
why do you want to work with us? Like some of our team members just have so much relevant experience outside of this that it makes them seem so overqualified. But it's not for us to second guess or judge or anything like that. And it's honestly an honor to see people who have so much life experience and have done so much outside and are so qualified and trained and educated want to do PlantCon. And sometimes, the fear is like, do they know what this actually is? Like, we're still just figuring everything out and it's still like so shaky, but you bring them onto the team and they love it. Like, they're brought into a role that has so much room to grow for them to really feel like they made a difference by being them in this space. Like, they did something that was unique to them and that somebody else in the same role like couldn't do either. I think that feels really. I think that's a big reason why people want like do PlantCon, is because they have the ability to like create that space for themselves and that mark on the organization. I don't know, like how did coming into PlantCon like feel, or like the team, how did that feel for you? Like what was your, I guess, mindset coming into it?
I mean, I feel like my journey is so kind of scattered. I was originally a vendor at like the early plant markets, and that's how I got connected with it. And then I had applied a couple years ago to work for Plant Market as well, and then things just ended up not working out at the time. So I didn't get to end up continuing with it. And then when I applied last year, that was finally when I was like, okay, I have time to like do a side project. Like, I definitely need like a side hobby. I need something that is like more focused in what I love and my passions and everything. And then, I mean, I immediately fell in love. I think I talk about it all the time. The first home and garden show, I've never felt so at home. And so like that's when I finally like realized like, oh, like this is where I'm meant to be. Like, this is not even just like work wise and like skill wise, but just the community of PlantCon. Like, it truly is more than just a job. It is like a big part of our lives. And everyone in my life since joining has said they've seen such a difference in me and everything that like just personality shift, like in a good way for me. So
Yeah, I mean, we can talk more about like what exactly the transition for you into PlantCon was like in a little bit. I guess speaking of like PlantCon being so much more than just a job, like what are your hobbies outside of work? I think for all of us, PlantCon is like such a big part of what we do and love. So what else do you do?
Outside of PlantCon, I spend time with my dog. I play video games, big Fortnite player, #1 Switch Lite Fortnite player out there. What else do I do? I like to read when I have the time and attention span for it. Trying to get back into fitness. I used to rock climb, kind of fell off a little this year, but definitely want to get back to that more. And then, just like hanging out with my friends a lot. Big martini girl. Always exploring, new foodie places, new drink places in Houston. And definitely, I think a big focus for 2026 is going to be getting back into volunteering and getting more into just community outreach again.
We did bond a lot over. We are both martini girls.
We are martini
We are
girls.
pickletini girls.
Yes.
What's your pickletini recipe?
Oh my gosh. I do the Texas Craft pickle vodka. I think I do probably 2 shots of that, and then usually half a shot of vermouth and either half a shot to a full shot of either olive juice or pickle juice on top of that to make it a little extra pickly. Trying to think what else goes into it. I think it's just that, really.
Yeah.
Ice, shaken.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, just depends on the day.
And it's usually
how sour I want it.
yeah, it's usually dry, like Dolan vermouth, right?
Yeah.
But, yeah. Okay, my favorite recipe for my martini is 2.5 ounces of usually an Old Tom gin. I either do Heyman's Old Tom or Ford's, and then I do, I think, half an ounce of. Is it half an ounce? I think half an ounce of sweet vermouth. I think it's like called Carpo Antica. And then the last one is half an ounce of 1888 raw pressed olive juice. And yeah, I love it. The olive juice is so filthy. It's like still oily because the oil is actually in there from being raw pressed. And then, yeah, blue cheese stuffed olives with that as well. But it has to be hand stuffed. Have you ever had a blue cheese stuffed martini, like pre-stuffed? That is good.
I don't think I've had a blue cheese martini yet.
Oh, man.
That I can think of.
Or like the olives. From the jar are so... Every time I've gotten olives that are pre-stuffed with blue cheese in a jar, they are disgusting. But if anybody out there has ever tried a good one, please let me know, because it's so much work to stuff them yourselves, but it's the only way to get a good, I feel, blue cheese stuffed olive for a really filthy swamp martini.
Yeah.
But
I remember you going on like a mini rant in Total Wine about them.
Yeah, I was looking at it and so disappointed by everything. And they're expensive. They're like $10 for a jar, and then you get it and it's terrible. Like, I can't even explain what it tastes like, but it's awful.
Yeah.
I don't understand how they can, like, I don't know, in good conscience make it and sell it to anybody.
For girls like me who have no taste.
Let's see. So, you're trying to get back into fitness, but right now you're super into fitting all this materials into this U-Haul.
Yeah.
Right now I'm fitting all this. Yeah.
Yeah. This dump truck.
This 26 foot.
All right, we have a quick word from our sponsors, and we will be right back.
It's a beautiful day in Los Angeles, and people are lining the block for a convention that's taking the nation by storm.
So I grow all carnivorous plants.
Get our free specimens back there.
Welcome back to People of PlantCon.
Yeah.
What other things does your department oversee? Logistics?
So within logistics, we have kind of 4 now sub-departments. We have the direct logistics sub-department. We handle all of our like purchasing, transportation, any rentals, procurement, things like that. But then we also have our volunteer sub-department. They handle all of our volunteers on site, doing volunteer outreach, which is very big, especially in new cities. And then we have our programs department. They handle all of our on-site programming. So anything from our presentations, our panels, our workshops, opening reception, all of that will be handled by our programs team. And then we just added a new sub-department, our special guests sub-department, and they're going to be handling any of our higher profile guests. So like in New York, they would have handled like Kunzo and Summer Rain Oaks. And then for Dallas, they're doing like Kossi, Paige, trying to think who else we had. I think Britt technically will be a special guest moving forward. Yeah, people like that.
I think I also think it's Kosi.
Kosi, sorry.
It's okay.
Kosi.
Yeah, I mean, I used to do all of the purchasing, transport, and storage when it was just like me, Gladys, and B, or just a smaller team in general. So I definitely have a lot more of an intimate understanding of and relationship with everything that you do. But like that being said, it has also evolved so much more like past what I used to do in that role. But yeah, what has that growth been like for you? Because I feel like I truly passed it over to you right before like it grew to encompass so much more.
Yeah, I think now with just the amount of people we have, even just between Houston to now, having a more organized team and a better trained team, we're finally able to start focusing like on a lot more of the like nitty gritty details. I know leading into Dallas, I was making spreadsheets with equations all over the place to just auto calculate a lot of things for us. I'm trying to think what else has grown from it. Yeah, because I feel like Houston, it was just like opening reception, rentals, U-Haul was the focus. And now I'm like, okay, let's get an exact count of like percentages of t-shirt orders. And like we're doing research on like pricing for things on, you know, how much like for 2026, we're already thinking of doing bulk orders for the full year versus ordering each event individually. And so, yeah, just still a lot of keeping track of like a lot of the numbers. I know we're working post Dallas on seeing exactly what numbers went into each individual PlantCon, which is something that we haven't had the time to really focus on yet, at least get like as detailed as we're getting right now. I think that's like really cool. And then just, yeah, a lot of development, building out very detailed guides on how to do a lot of things on site, doing technical guides on like even how to store and wrap the turf for our indoor park, how to put together our boxwood, our big LED screen. We'll have a whole guide on how to do that and all that. So yeah. And then AV falls under logistics too once they're on site. So I think seeing like the AV team grow and just what we've kind of created with them as well has been really fun.
Yeah. I wish I talked about it more with Gladys and Ava as well, but I actually do think that we are so focused on like I mean, when I ask this question, it's about like basically everything that has to be done, right? And like how that's evolving. But then I think we forget to talk about a little bit like what are like the fun things that we're then able to do because these departments are growing, and because we have the support to start doing like a little bit more fun stuff. I think even for Gladys, like getting to redo the website, you know, was really fun for her when she got to step back from running the entire organization and like getting that little time to herself to be creative again, because that's originally how Gladys came onto the team, was as a creative social media graphic designer. And then Ava as well, like, you know, being able to do the postcard competition and from that, like me being able to take a step back and like do more special stuff, like fun stuff. Like I knew New York was going to be super rough. And so when we got that postcard competition back, I wanted to get puzzles made out of all of those postcards that won and give it to our staff as like a memento to remember NYC and celebrate having completed it. And that was really cool. Like I've never gotten to do anything like that for like, you know, staff appreciation kind of thing before. It's really just show up. The appreciation is usually that like we pay for your travel and hotel and maybe a meal, and that's usually like the most we can do. But then also for Houston, being able to surprise everybody with like staff t-shirts as well and like new staff uniform, which we to this day wear. And I think it's so fun that, yeah, literally everybody from directors down to planterns like are all dressed in the same
Mm-hmm.
uniform. And I think it shows that we're just all part of the same team. I don't think the directors do wear like a director jacket now, which I also surprised everybody with
Yes.
and the only reason why we have any kind of uniform that's different is because people like seek out directors usually when they need help. And so it's important to identify who the directors are. And then B, like not giving the director jackets to, and that's why we don't give director jackets to like the normal staff. But then also, I think going up to people and like exhibitors and attendees and stuff like that, like, I don't know, we all look so young. We look like children. And so when you walk up to somebody and are like, hey, sorry, like you can't, have this thing in your booth or something, they're like, oh, well, like I emailed and they said that I could do it. And it's like, I don't know, who you talk to, but that's not part of like our official rules. And whoever did that, like, shouldn't have okayed that. It doesn't happen very often at all. And all of our exhibitors are wonderful. And I think, frankly, if we ever do have any like rotten eggs or anything like that, they kind of see themselves out. But I think it's usually people like that try to like get away with something. And, we had the badges that say like, executive director, like director of blah, 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 blah. But they don't see that right off the bat. And so they honestly like lie to you a little bit. And we used to have to like hold up our badge and be like, hey, like I'm, the president of the organization and I'm telling you like that's not part of our rules. And they're like, oh, okay. Like, because I don't know. It's hard to like have any kind of authority, frankly, when you look as young as we do. And I think like trying to approach every exhibitor with like respect and everything still, and not like come up to them with like an attitude or anything like that. I don't know. I don't think any of us are in the mood to like walk up to somebody and assert ourselves like we're hot shit or anything like that. And so I think having the director jacket has helped us a lot to not like have to be super confrontational. But anyways, like that stuff has been really cool to think about and see, and has only been possible because we're free to do that. And I think like logistics coming up with, new stickers, designs, and frankly, just getting a really nice new tote bag was really cool.
Oh yeah, the tote bag.
Yeah, we're like, we want oversized tote bags. And so we talk about, all these things that like go into it, blah, 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 blah. But in the evolution of logistics and every role really like has come a lot of fun stuff that we've been able to do as well, which feels really, really good. Because I think it's what all of us have kind of wanted to do. And even when it's small stuff like that, it still feels like such a big accomplishment to be able to step aside and do that.
Yeah.
Because it has like really for the past 2 years or whatever, just been like the bare bones necessities. Like that's all we can afford to do. And all we will do is just like the things that need to be done in order to make it possible. And, like when you get creative, I think is when the door for new and different opportunities opens up. I think if you run everything like you always run it, the same opportunities, you don't unlock any new opportunities, like everything is very much the same. But doing new things, trying new things, and having the room to experiment and do new things like that, I think really opens up a lot of avenues for even just exploring like collaboration. Like I think with a first place puzzle or the first place postcard winner, for New York has gone on to have her t-shirt sold and like collaborated with the PlantCon design with Team Grow on YouTube. And that's just, somebody that I don't think we would have had a chance to work with for a really, really long time. But by basically attracting this bridge has been very, 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 very cool. So let's see. I guess with on the topic of like evolving and the role growing, what are the biggest things that you've had to learn in this role as director?
Ooh, so much. I think probably the biggest thing, and especially in logistics and what I really try to emphasize with my team, is one of the biggest things in logistics is, of course, planning. We have to plan for every situation, anything that may, go wrong or just, things missing, anything that could happen on site. Like logistics really is planning down to almost the minute of the schedule on site of, anywhere from loading in, getting our stuff set up, even, trying to make sure we have all the schedules done for staff. But even with that, just having the patience of knowing like we can plan for every situation. There's always going to be something that we didn't think about, or that, we just didn't realize could go a certain way. I think New York was a very big learning experience for logistics specifically, that really taught us pretty much everything that we may need to look out for or be aware of. And there's just always going to be things that are outside of our control, and we just got to always roll with the punches. Like, even as frustrating or as stressful as it can be, and like, we may hear from attendees or exhibitors about certain things, like we can't let that affect us. At the end of the day, we just have to get the job done, and keep a cool mind about it, because we're, on the floor, we're public facing, we're always in front of people. And so I think it's being able to roll with the punches and also not let it show at the same time, has been like a very big learning experience for me as a director, and then just my team as well.
Yeah, I think it's about making a plan, and then, but more importantly, like being able to create a new plan when that one fails, and always being like understanding that a plan is going to fail, and you're gonna have to find something new, because everything is not always ideal. Leading right into this, we lost 5 rolls of 15-foot by 15-foot turf. And had to very quickly scramble to replace those. Like we were in Houston trying to load up our turf, and then figured out that like they have these really thick, strong inner cardboard cores, tubes that roll up inside of the turf and allows the turf to basically stay straightened out while it's rolled. And so without that, each roll of turf is probably like, I think 250 pounds, each 15 by 15 patch. And we use this to create like an indoor park at PlantCon. And it's probably, frankly, one of the most difficult things to transport and set up and maintain all the time, because rolling them up sucks. Trying to get a tight roll, I think like 5 people have to carry it in order to get it out. But when the turf sags in any area, it's impossible to transport the turf. And so we need these cores. And so in Houston, we're, trying to load up the U-Haul and find out that like all of our cores are missing, and had to go searching for them. And it turns out the venue mistook them for trash, broke them in half, and like threw them in the dumpster. And so we asked the venue to like look after this while we basically got replacements, and told them like we might not be able to do it until Dallas, which was like 5 months away or something. And then we reached out to them like, hey, we're going to come get the turf now. And they're like, what turf? We're like, the one that you said you were going to hold on to us until Dallas. And so things like change all the time. And then within, I don't know, 3 days or something, we had to find out where to get like a turf replacement. And getting 15-foot by 15-foot turf is not like a common thing.
Especially to own. Like renting, sure, but to be able to pick up and store it also. And like with our timeline of just deliveries, like we load the U-Haul the Friday before we leave. Usually we leave like the Monday before the event, and then we load the U-Haul the weekend of. And so something that is always a struggle with logistics is knowing that we operate on a weekend schedule, but most of these companies don't. And so like even with our rentals, we're always having to make sure like, hey, our event ends Sunday at 6, and then it takes us about 2 to 3 hours to like break down everything. You can come pick up Sunday at 11 p.m., right? Especially like on a holiday weekend and things like that. So there's just been a lot of things that we have to be aware of now that we're more knowledgeable in.
Yeah. I feel like logistics especially depends a lot on manpower too, which is also another difficult part, is like it's not always available. And so you can, plan for everything and have the date set, but like if people aren't available to come help, like that's also a hole in the plan, and you have to figure it out. Again, like you have to move all the dates around. Luckily our team is pretty good though, and everyone's pretty willing to show up and help out whenever they can. And so I don't know that it's happened too often where we don't have enough people to get something done, because people are pretty good about volunteering their time to come out and do stuff.
I think as far as I've been in charge of logistics, there's only been maybe one day where it was the pod unloading where we didn't have people, but it's because it was like a random Tuesday at like noon and we only had so many hours to get it unloaded. But other than that, yeah, our team is amazing. Even people outside of logistics, we always have people coming to help out. We've had, exhibitors come help out unloading with us, or that will like stick around and, make sure that we get loaded into our U-Haul at the end of show days. So something I'm always very, very thankful for is, the amount of help and manpower that we have.
And our newest role in logistics is actually the distribution manager role. Because New York was a struggle, just not even figuring out, but just having you have to be the person who has to go get all of these different U-Hauls because we can't keep them because we can't park them anywhere. And so we have to grab them on the day that we need them, then return them after we don't need them, but then pick it up again the next day. And it's Manhattan. And so we have to drive into Brooklyn to get it and figuring out going from Brooklyn to Queens to pick up some rentals that we have and then driving it to the venue and then returning the U-Haul after we pick that stuff up because we can't keep the U-Haul.
Yeah.
It was just a lot to have on you. And we realized that there's not really anybody else in logistics that can help with this. And so it's a new role we had to create. But when you were talking about different, departments and people from different departments showing up to help, I guess you can talk a little bit about who our distribution manager is.
Yeah, we have a new distribution manager, Caroline. She started in PR and marketing, but she has now moved over to logistics, and then she'll be taking over distribution. A big thing of why she was chosen was she always came to help out at storage, and she was one of the people that just very quickly got it. Didn't have to really give her much direction, knew okay, don't stack a 50-pound box on top of a printer. Even unloading the pod, she was like, okay, all decor goes in one, AV and merch goes in the other. As she pulled everything out of the pod, she was organizing it by area so it could get organized in the storage unit, which any of our staff that has been there for unload day after an event knows we're so exhausted. We're we'll organize it later. Just throw it in and get it in there. And so, she's been a very big help. It's been great seeing even on site in Dallas. She's so new to the role. It's only been maybe 2 weeks, and she's really taken charge. She got all the pipe and drape set up. She's, been leading teams of volunteers and staff and getting the on-site stuff done. She drove the 26-foot U-Haul for the first time the other day. Loved watching that. She'll be driving it back to Houston on Monday. But yeah, it's been really great. I think having someone local too was a big part of it. It was hard finding somebody that was Houston local to help out, because I think originally the plan was just having a logistics person that was local, but the people that ended up just moving up the hierarchy weren't. And so we created that role, and it's working out so far.
Yeah. I think a really cool next step for this is me acting like we're on a director call right now or something like that. But I think it'd be really cool to start having Caroline lean more into tapping into the community for help loading and unloading, because ultimately it's awesome when our team comes out, because for the most part our team knows a little bit more what to do. But I think if Caroline is pretty intentional about directing people, I think it would just be good to save our team that energy a little bit.
No, I agree.
And count on people who are willing to come out and just help us, because they don't have anything particularly strenuous happening that weekend, where for us it's we're about to load this U-Haul, then go to Dallas and run a whole show.
Yeah.
But our staff is so wonderful about coming out, but I think part of being a part of this staff is that it's very, very easy to overexert yourself before you realize that you are, because you just want to help out so badly. And I think we've had to be very intentional about saving our team from themselves by making sure they have breaks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Something that we're probably not great at ourselves, doing for ourselves. We're still kind of that way.
Being forced to sleep in past 6 a.m. today.
Yeah. I put a horse tranquilizer.
Yeah.
Because we're it's just, we don't want you to be tired for this, and it's hard to prioritize things that aren't necessarily like show critical.
Mhm.
This podcast is not show critical, but being able to say like, hey, like we really should, sleep in a little bit so that we're well rested for this episode. Trust the team to basically be able to handle things while you're not there for 2 hours. Like nothing's gonna blow up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's new. It's
Mhm.
very, very new.
Yeah.
Because directors are always the first ones up and the last ones like to go to sleep, or the last ones to leave. And so I think moving into a place where we feel comfortable with directors, being second, third to show up, or even like the not really just not the last ones to leave or anything like that will, I think, be a big step, because I think there's a lot of things that there's a lot of knowledge and really just knowledge that directors carry that I think benefit the organization as a whole if we can step back from the operations themselves and take that time for ourselves. And I think that's something that we're learning and moving towards. But I think, and I was telling, I think Ava this, is that like you and Gladys are still very much in the thick of it, because all of that stuff is so hands-on. But yeah, hopefully I think by LA, I think we should be able to have you guys like not have to be in the thick of it too much, but it is very, very, very much a training period right now. Everything is so new. Everyone is so new. Like the systems that we're building are so brand new that it's very like intensive. And I don't think there's so much to learn now too, because everything about PlantCon has grown.
Yeah.
And so all of our new people are trying to learn so much about so much as well.
Yeah.
And part of it is, so much of it is so interdepartmental as well. Like you can't be helping with admin at a high level without understanding fundamentally like what really like the schedule for logistics, operations, and marketing looks like. Like you have to be tapped into every department almost.
Yeah.
So there's so much to absorb, but that's, I think, part of what makes it cool to do our planternship program, where people like, move between departments, because they actually get that perspective into like what everybody else is doing. Gabe has recently moved into like our operation or our admin manager role, and he was a logistics plantern.
Yeah, you stole them from me.
We did, but he dabbled
It's
so
okay.
much. He dabbled in like operations in New York, and was just so tapped into everything that I think he's able to, because admin truly does deal with every single department.
Yeah.
I think while every other department has like their specific responsibilities and everything like that, I do think like the thing that makes admin is that admin has to be a part of every department and understand a lot of the workings of the other departments to plan and schedule and all of that. Let's see. My next question was about telling our listeners about what all goes into a PlantCon from a logistical standpoint, but we could literally be here all day.
Yeah, so much.
And we already basically went into that. I think everyone can kind of imagine everything.
Yeah.
Do you have anything that like, and I'm putting you on the spot with this question, like what might surprise people, like that they wouldn't think that you have to think about logistically for PlantCon?
I think one of the biggest things, like especially when talking to just family and friends about it, is how, like, I think this is just specific to PlantCon especially, is how kind of DIY we are. A lot of events usually contract out, like how we were talking about the turf, they would just do a rental for the weekend and have it dropped off. The only thing we really do rental wise is tables, chairs, and benches. Everything else we own. We own our LED screen. We own all of our AV equipment. Even stanchions are all, us. We set them up. We bring them. We haul them everywhere, as heavy as they are. All of our pipe and drape we own. We don't borrow or rent that from a venue. Tablecloths, those are all us. Like, just like small things like that. All of our signage. We just switched over to getting the badges not personalized anymore, so we could mass print them through a printer, so that way the assembly isn't. But up until Dallas, all of them we were designing, doing like personalizing each badge ourselves with the name, printing, sleeving, all assembling the badges. yeah, a lot of that people, I think, don't really realize like how much we really do ourselves versus having outside people do it. And I think that's what really makes PlantCon so special and adds a lot of personality to it.
Yeah, I think biting the bullet and deciding to get a storage unit was a lot, and they've grown. I mean, our units have grown over the years. We started with like a 10x5, and then I was like, do we really need a 10x10? You know, and then we got a 10x10, and then and then we had to go back and get both a 10x10 and a 10x5, and then now we have like a 10x30, and then we were like, oh, like this is the storage unit, and then I was like, oh, we need another 10x30, so now we have two 10x30 storage units, and that's the scary part about like owning things, and we've had to build. I think we've had to build logistics around owning our own equipment, which I think that is, you know, like you said, very surprising because, and I, in the last episode with Ava, I've also talked about, or the first episode with Gladys talked about just doing things the way that we think things should be done rather than looking at what the industry standard is.
Right.
Because when you look around the industry standard, like, I don't know, I see that other organizations just hire out decorators for everything, including stanchions and pipe and drape. And the pipe and drape costs more to rent than it does to buy. And I'm like, that sucks.
Yeah.
Like, why are you, like, I get it. Like, I don't know, because but you end up paying for the labor and everything anyways. You pay more than you would to store it, to purchase it, and to even like have labor to set it up and everything. You end up paying way more. And it just is so much more economical because it's also, you pay way more and it's only that one time, and then you pay more again the next time and the next time after that, versus like paying that one flat cost, which was cheaper than even just renting it one time, owning it, and then being able to use that like forever. I think that's also a big part of like our I don't know, just our responsibility to be like financially responsible with the money that people are spending with us and are choosing to support us with. Just honestly taking that money and being able to use it wisely and not just spend it on making PlantCon as easy as possible for ourselves. And being willing still to do a bit of the hard work. And ultimately, I mean, we want to treat ourselves too. Like, I would much rather spend whatever money we save on rentals by purchasing and all the work that goes into owning and setting it up and transporting it yourself and everything like that, like taking on that work and instead rewarding ourselves with like retreats and stuff like that. One day would be, I think, way cooler to me than making it easier at every show by just renting everything and paying like, I mean, realistically, if we do 6 shows a year, we would pay 6 times what we are paying now. Because we pay it once to own it, but doing 6 shows and renting for 6 shows. And the costs vary for every single city. And you sometimes sometimes it's so extortive too, because you don't have much option. Like, you don't have a lot of options when you go to a new city. And you kind of have to pay whatever they're charging. And so it's also very volatile and risky as well. And yeah, just owning comes with a lot of stability, but it does definitely create more work because you're the only ones that can transport and set up your equipment. You also can't hire decorators to work with your equipment because they won't work with it because they don't know it.
Right.
And they'll only work with the things that they rent out to you. And so, yeah, I think that is a very new and unexpected thing, I think. But I'm really glad that we do that, and I think it does come with, honestly, the scrappy nature of PlantCon. I think we've always had to be very, very scrappy with how we came up. And so just being able to save that money, I think, has gone a really, really long way for us.
Oh, absolutely.
It creates a lot of work. a lot of work.
That's worth it.
Yeah, maintaining the storage unit and everything like that. But then ultimately at the same time, it's like we could pay to rent and make that easier and give all this money to a different company, or we can hire somebody to do it internally and create a new job and a new position inside of our own team that pays somebody that we know and care about and love, and I think that's a really cool thing too, is like by choosing not to rent equipment or like outsource the labor, we keep the labor internal and make sure that we get to control like the working conditions of the people that are doing it for us now, and making sure that that they get to be a part of this team and be part of something really cool. And so just trying to create as many opportunities as possible for people to have a role on this team as well, I think is another benefit that is not so apparent.
Yeah, I think something too that like I personally really enjoy seeing with logistics, and like kind of off topic, but same thing, is like our logistics team is mainly female, especially specifically the logistics sub-department and our distribution manager, which is very unheard of in across the board logistics, no matter what industry you're in. And so I always think I get a little personal enjoyment every time I pull up in the big U-Haul to like picking up the turf and stuff. And they're like, oh, it's just you two, like young, like 20 something, like early 30 girls that are picking up this 250-pound turf. And we're like, yeah, what of it? Like, we can do it. It's fine. And we do it. And I think that's something that like people really don't realize or like see, or like, you know, you look at our group that's coming to U-Haul or to storage and stuff. And yeah, it's just a bunch of us 20-something-year-olds like in the back of a U-Haul loading up this 100-pound equipment into there and then unloading it, setting it up. And, you know, it's really cool to see. It makes me very, very proud to be a part of it. And like that's something that we don't even think of or realize until we look at the team like physically and we're like, oh, we did get mostly female people for this. Like, it's great.
I think it's also something that I hadn't thought about this, but I think a lot of venues really like working with us, and a lot of people really like working with us because then they, I think, see us and they're honestly a little bit worried because they're like, this is such a young group. Like, are they going to be okay? And then I think they see us show up on site and all just work really, really, really hard. And I think it's inspirational, I think, to a lot of people to see how hard we work. I think hopefully even exhibitors as well. Just seeing that like a group of younger people can really, I don't know, put their heads down and like get it done.
Yeah.
And not in this weird, like old school, like, stop being a snowflake, like pull yourself up by the boots and like just get it done. But it is just really like for the love of it, being able to push through, get it done, and care about it as well. It's been cool. I think the impact that we have even going from venue to venue, and even when we do venue tours and stuff as a group of directors and stuff like that, they're like, oh, like this is it, like it's you guys. And we're like, yeah. And they're like, this is such a young group. And we're like, yeah. And I think it's fun for them, honestly, to work with us and see how much we care, because frankly, I think a lot of times they can get pretty nervous that there's like a young group. But we've been in calls and we're like asking questions like, so, you know, whenever I don't even know what kind of questions we ask anymore. I guess we're like, what kind of things do we need to know about like the fire extinguishers? Like, can we be
fire
next to
marshals do we need? Do
Yeah.
we need fire certificates on everything we own? Like, what's the loading dock like?
Literally, and people like the venue hosts are like, this is actually really cool. They're like, you guys are asking questions that like we don't even get from people who have been doing this for 10 to 20 years. They don't even ask like these kinds of questions. And frankly, to us, they're the most important questions. And these people don't even by now know to ask them. So it's really, really cool. Like, you guys really know what you're doing if you're asking these questions. And it's been cool because I think we're not reading a textbook or a playbook or something out there. Like, we just are learning by experience and really trying to think about everything that makes sense to us to ask about. Like, the things that we're asking about sometimes aren't even from experience. We're just thinking like, what questions make sense to ask and what do we feel like we would need to know going into this. And so I think it takes a lot of innovation and intuition to understand this stuff as well. And I don't know, just come up with it. And it's been really cool to hear, even with marketing and stuff like that with Ava, people, the mayor of Allen, Texas, showing up to last year's Dallas PlantCon and being like, this is the longest line I've ever seen. Like, your social media is amazing. Like, would you guys be willing to like give a webinar on marketing to some of like the Allen Chamber of Commerce or something like that, just to help out some of these businesses? Because these are older businesses who aren't as savvy at it. And we've seen what you guys are doing. It's incredible. And, you know, Ava, I think at the time is like 24 years old or something, 25 years old.
Yeah.
And Ava had no formal training. She didn't go to marketing school. She didn't take classes or anything like that. It's just doing what feels right and what makes sense. And to get the attention of, like the mayor of a city is really, really cool.
Yeah.
And I think we do that with like the venues that we go to as well, where they're like, wow, like, how long have you guys been like event planners? Did you go to school for like hospitality or event planning? And we're like, no.
Yeah.
This is like brand new. And so I think that has been, that's just really cool. It's a cool thing. I guess, what has been your favorite PlantCon experience?
Ooh. There's a few. I feel like each city has had its like very specific things. I think one of my favorite experiences was my first PlantCon in Houston as a director and surprising our class of planterns with our graduation ceremony at opening reception. It's something I definitely want to bring back. And I wish I had more time to kind of plan and do for Dallas. Maybe I'll whip something up today, but it was really special when me and MJ first were leading that first plantern class. It's something we thought of like, it would be really cute if we had some kind of like ceremony when we're done with, you know, this planternship. Me and her didn't even know if we'd be continuing with the team at the time. But we definitely wanted to recognize it. And so for Houston, I did like a very like kind of DIY. I ordered these little graduation caps and I had everyone line up while I stood like on the edge of a fountain and made them all come by and gave them all caps, whether they were continuing with the team or not. I think it was just really special. I think it's become a thing now at opening reception that everyone's like, oh, Tay's going to do something to make us cry. New York, I did a speech with the directors to Kenny, recognizing you for, you know, your award that you didn't get to go accept. And I wanted to make sure recognize it. I think that's just something I've always been very big in, is I always recognize not everyone gets the flowers they deserve, especially in the workplace, no matter how big or small your role is. So that's always something I really, really try to bring to anywhere I've worked at, is like making sure everyone feels recognized and feels heard and appreciated. And so just finding little ways to do that. You know, going to Medieval Times for our staff dinner was really fun last night. Yeah, I think I don't know. I have so many good PlantCon memories. I think I always will talk about now that Ashley, who was also in my first plantern group, she's now my head of logistics department. I think that will always be a memory in my head of both of us as planterns in Orlando. We were sitting under the gazebo having lunch together. It was just me, her, and her kids. And she like turned to me at one point and was just like, imagine in a year, like both of us are going to be full-time like PlantCon. Like she's like, I'm manifesting it. We're both going to be full-time in a year. And then, yeah, not even 8 months later, both of us are leading the logistics department and are here now. And yeah, that will always be like burned into a very, very fond memory burned into me.
I love that. I love both you and Ashley. Especially because you were the ones, the two planterns that showed up to the Home and Garden show too in February.
I think it was me, her, and Cassidy.
Yeah. And then now, in Orlando, then now it's the two of you leading logistics has been really cool.
Yeah, and seeing her, and she moved all over the place. We put her under operations for a while, and then she was supporting Cam as he became operations director, and she was operations manager under him. And then I think, that was when we saw like, oh, Katie also had a lot of potential. So we were like, okay, how do we utilize both of them? And we were like, you know what? Give me Ashley back. I was like, I want her.
Because she was already doing a bunch of logistics stuff anyways. Like, she's just helping. everywhere.
Oh yeah, she put so much together that for New York, I was like, even before she moved into logistics, I was like, I don't know what I would have done if I didn't have all of like the convention toolbox and, you know, the pod loading guide. And it's all things that I had wanted to do. We just didn't have time for it yet. And so, yeah, I'm so appreciative of everything she's taken on. And I've been checking on her all morning and she's like, yeah, everything's going fine. I'm like, okay, cool, good.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Every director has said that Houston 2025 was their favorite experience, which makes a lot of sense because I think we all worked really, really hard towards that.
Mm-hmm.
And it went really, really well. My controversial opinion in the previous episode was that New York was my favorite. It was so challenging, but like we know now, like that's the hardest PlantCon that I think we'll ever do.
Yeah.
Other than maybe going international.
Yeah. I think once I had time to like really sit down and process it as, you know, difficult it was, especially logistics wise, is that we learned a lot. It really made like Dallas run so much smoother. It's going to make LA so much smoother. It taught us everything that we need to be aware of and know ahead of time and be able to plan for. So
yeah, I think a lot of times trauma trains better than like positive experiences.
yeah.
I think truly everybody's just like, oh, if we don't get it together, like this is gonna happen again. Like
Mm-hmm.
the way New York was is how it's gonna be if we don't do something different. And I don't think anybody wants things to go the way that they did in New York again.
Yeah.
New York went really well in many, many ways, but I think yeah, I mean there's things that were out of control and things that were in our control. You know, we couldn't control that the AV company, we had specifically requested spotlights and gotten a quote for spotlights, and then they brought like very dim ambient stage lights. And so PlantCon ended up being so dark. And like by the time they showed up on site and we're already installing them, we were all like, okay, I'm sure they're keeping them at like half brightness while they set them up. And we're like, okay, so like, are we going to crank these up? And they're like, no, this is as bright as they get. And we're like, no, like we requested spotlighting for all of these that would be really, really bright.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, well, we don't have that and we don't have the staff because we didn't budget the staff because this is what you ordered. And we're like, this is not what we ordered at all. And we have the emails that say spotlights, like bright spotlights.
Yeah. I remember people being like, I didn't know Taylor knows electrical and lighting. And we were like, she's not supposed to, but thank God I have a background in electrical and lighting because of what I've grown up with. I had to walk the entire floor and check every single outlet and light with them. And then, we were like, this on the map where it says the guide, there's supposed to be 65 lights. There should be 65 lights or however many we ordered. And and
we paid premium too,
mm-hmm.
because this was, well, maybe we don't name names, but this is a big event production company that does really, really credible shows.
And at the venue we were at too, they literally were there the night before doing, all the concerts that week and everything. And that's why it was very surprising and honestly just disappointing that the work we got was not up to the standard we've seen production wise from them before. So
and it's hard to, I don't know, because there's a lot of discourse out there like that happens around it. And, our favorite is that PlantCon was a cave. So we call it Plant Cave NYC now.
Boiler Room PlantCon.
But there's not, like, we can't be in every single comment section being like, hey, here's what actually happened. You know, like we paid $60,000 for what was supposed to be really, really good lighting and got like what should have been like $5,000 worth of lighting. Really,
it's what I could have installed on site with the time I spent with them, to be honest. Like we could have went out and bought our own lights and stuff, which maybe I'll add to our purchasing guide at this point.
Literally what I was thinking, I'm like going back to how expensive it is to rent stuff. Like we paid so much to rent lights that ended up not being good anyways, and we had no choice because like once the event comes, like you are at the mercy of whoever you hired and whether they're going to be ethical and honest and good to work with or not, which like even us, we had every reason to believe that this was going to be a good company to work with because they do big shows and they've worked with this specific venue before. And so for them to turn around and not be just shows like how risky it is to outsource things no matter what, even if it's typically a credible and good company. Like I remember sending them the CAD file because I'm like, okay, this is a really legit company. Like I can send them the CAD file. And for people who don't know what that means, it's computer aided design file, which is just a digital blueprint basically. And I will draw the entire map on there, including all of the booths. And then I'll also draw where electrical drops and lighting should go. And because it's a digital file, they should be able to measure exactly where I'm putting everything. That's the benefit of a CAD file is you don't have to mark it up and draw or anything like physically like draw out any dimensions. People can go into the file and measure things themselves. And when they showed up, they were like, okay, well, we can't start working until you guys finish marking out all of the booth spaces in like on the floor in the actual space, physically mark them out so that we know where to drop stuff. And I was like, no, like every company that I work with, we send you the CAD file so that you can measure yourself off of the file and understand where to drop stuff without relying on us to put tape on the floor to show you that. And especially when this is the most we've ever paid for lighting and electrical, because typically we don't pay that. Like we typically get lighting and electrical through the venue itself. And so usually we just pay like per electrical drop or per light or something like that. And it's like, 130 to like 300 per electrical drop or something like that. But with these people, it was just completely outsourced. So it was so expensive. And yeah, even working with these venues that were much cheaper because they did it in-house, like they did it better and were more experienced. So I'm like, I thought by paying more for this very experienced, incredible company, like you guys would know how to use a CAD file to drop stuff.
Yeah.
And so then having to go through and confirm that like they dropped stuff where it was supposed to be dropped afterward. Because then they were like, oh, okay. And I was like, okay, like, thank you. And then they ended up not dropping stuff where it was supposed to be dropped. They ended up not putting lights where they were supposed to be put up. So, I mean, that was, I have a question that was like, what's your least favorite part about PlantCon? I'm sure this is one of the least favorite things that has happened. But I guess other than that, do you have any like least favorite things about PlantCon?
Trying to think. I mean, even when people would think like storage and U-Haul and stuff, but I'm a physical person. I'm a very hands-on person, so I actually enjoy that. I'm a little bit of a control freak, so like being able to be in the U-Haul and like touching every single box, every single item, making sure it's all in there. Having, distribution managers great now, but yeah, I think truly like those little things that I think the least favorite thing is just the time crunch of like, like the lighting in New York, they were still installing stuff on Friday. And so even if, there were corrections, even if we could switch out the lights, it would have delayed opening on Saturday. It would have been, okay, you guys have to come in at 4 a.m. on Saturday to get this done by our first group, which is 7 a.m. And even then exhibitors come in 6:30 to finish setting up. So like, yeah, having to work around the exhibitor setup, and then even on Friday, having AV still in there installing things while these exhibitors are trying to set their booths up, having to have some of the exhibitors move their booths or tear stuff down so they could get behind them. I think that's always the most difficult part is just asking for like patience and being like, we're doing everything we can. I know you're under a lot of stress. You're only one or two people setting up 10 by 10 to 10 by 30 spaces. And so we understand your stress, but like, we're also doing everything on our end. Like, I promise this is not something that I intended or planned. Like, please don't mention the lighting to me one more time. But yeah, I think, just those little things that we know, like once we get on site, once we figure it out, those are always the hardest and most difficult. For sure. And like trying to decide, okay, do I have time to put a game plan together to actually fix this? Or like, do I have to put a game plan to kind of control the narrative around this or, discuss with people, like what kind of communication do I have to have then if things aren't going to plan?
Yeah. I agree. All I can say is I agree.
Yeah, either way, it's we have to plan something, anything that may seem like it's going wrong or not as planned on the back end of PlantCon, we're always none of it ever goes unheard. that we definitely are always thinking, even if, you know, everyone may not have gotten the communication or it may not have seemed the best, we're always trying to do our best and making sure we do what's right for our attendees, our exhibitors, our volunteers, everyone involved, because we know even outside of staff, there's so many people that, you know, put together a PlantCon.
Yeah, I think, that is a big, I think, growth point is figuring that out. Other than that, do you have any other, well, what is your biggest, I think, growth point that you've had? Like, can you pin it down to one specific moment or time?
I think probably, I mean, we've talked about it. New York really taught me not even just like the actual skill sets and what goes into, like I said, everything that we are going to have to plan for or be aware of, because I mean, on top of the other logistical things we've talked about that were struggles, it was also a holiday weekend in a big city against other big events like the US Open. And so I think just having a team and learning how to really communicate with a team and like coach them on things and kind of, you know, letting them fail when it was appropriate so that they could also learn. And then, you know, letting them know as well that like, you know, I take accountability in that, like anything, as much as, you know, their performance isn't always going to be a reflection of me as their leader. Like I do think it is a reflection of me because, I think there's always something to be said about being able to fail or, you know, take constructive criticism and how you respond to it. I think that was another big thing we kind of learned with New York was just the people who either complained but had nothing like constructive feedback to say afterwards versus the people who like really learned from it and were like, okay, here, like, yes, that was very stressful. That was a lot, but here's what we learned and how we can change things for, you know, future events, or here's what I need to change, or, you know, just even like realizations of like, okay, like this was a lot more than I thought it was going to be. Like maybe I need to take a step back or, you know, just rework how I'm balancing stuff out, which is also something I'm always learning is, you know, that work-life balance.
Yeah. But I think also it's nice because for the team, seeing people like directors and leaders who are very aware of that and who are very intentional about that also encourages them to do the same. So I think it means a lot and it goes a long way. I guess that's a lot about, we've talked about like how much this year basically has been, or how this year has been for you. And it's been a lot from Orlando when you were not even a director, you were like still planter, to becoming a director for Houston, and then learning big lessons in New York City. Like, how do you feel going into Dallas right now?
Going into it, I mean, after we had our first setup day yesterday, we're super ahead of schedule, even this morning, checking in on everyone. The big focus today is just exhibitors. And so I think, you know, it's definitely been a lot easier. Our team is definitely a lot more prepared. I think having a lot more on-site preparations than we have before have helped a lot too. Even our newbies, any of our new staff that came out, and you know, some of them were onboarded a week ago, 2 weeks ago. We have a lot more resources for them now to be able to learn, which has been a big thing that I know like me and Gladys have been really excited and happy to be able to build out for them, especially for on-site, because a lot of our roles, like people probably wouldn't realize, don't translate in what they do pre-event into what they do on site. Even within logistics, a lot of the like pre-event stuff is just, you know, ordering, like a lot of spreadsheets, a lot of documents, and then you get on site and it's all manpower. And so, yeah, it's, I think Dallas is going really, really good so far, and I'm really excited for it. And just to have a little bit more time. I know, like, even in Houston, I was kind of all over the place. I only had about 30 actual minutes walking the floor to shop. And I already am scared of what I'm going to spend in Dallas because I know I'm going to have a little bit more time.
I was going to say there's no way that in Houston 2025 or in New York 2025 that we could have been sitting and recording a podcast the day before PlantCon.
No, absolutely not. Even yesterday was setup day. I like kept going up. I was like, okay, who needs help? Who needs assistance? Because I'm so used to being pulled all over the place. And everyone was like, we got it. We're ahead of schedule. I'm like, oh, what do I do? What, you guys don't need me anymore?
I was talking to Ava about that, and I'm like, it's so hard to make the call to not just stand there and stress yourself out and feel bad for not helping and just go like do something else, or even just go rest, go take a break, because you will be needed at some point. Probably you can't plan around that.
Yeah.
Like it's going to happen or it's not, whatever. But at least the least you can do then is just rest and be prepared to have the energy for when you are needed, which is something I think I was very lucky in Houston to be able to do, was kind of, I don't know, take it a little bit easier than I think all the directors. And then we had the whole like bench fiasco at the end of Houston where our U-Haul was too small.
I did forget about that.
We had to return all those rental benches, and we had loaded up our U-Haul, and we looked and we're like, oh my God, we still have the benches to do. And I don't know, there were like 40 benches or something like that we had to fit into a 20-foot U-Haul with all of our other stuff. I remember you being like, Kenny, like, I can't do it.
Yeah, it was like 10 p.m. on Sunday, and I like looked over and I was like, no one's picked up the benches yet. And I went through my email and I'm like, oh, we didn't set up a pickup time. And they're closed on Sunday, so they wouldn't have even been able to. And yeah, I just came up to you. I was like, Kenny, I don't know what we're going to do. We need to find a U-Haul at 10 p.m. to do these benches.
And I was like, okay. I was like, this used to be, I used to load the U-Haul and unload it and do all that stuff. So I was like, okay, this is where I can help out now.
Yeah.
So I think it's important about like not feeling like a terrible person for stepping aside, because it's important to keep yourself ready and rested enough to help out whenever, you do need to step in and support somebody where they just can't do more anymore, and save people from feeling like that defeat, because that defeat sticks with people a long time, and I think it's very traumatic to get to that point. So I think it's really important to be able to step in whenever people potentially get to that point and be able to like stop it from getting any further, really. So I mean, I was so happy that I could help with that, and thankful to Vicente, Brett, and Ethan as well, and Aaron was also really still trying to step in and help a lot with that, and I'm very thankful for them. But I was talking to Ava about it as well last episode, that like, just learning to ask the team if I can sleep in so that I can be rested for the podcast and not make people listen to me while I'm completely exhausted for an hour and a half. And how important it is to be rested, and asking that for you today as well, being like, hey, are we good if Tay sleeps in so that we can be coherent during this episode at least?
I woke up in a panic this morning checking everything. I was like, everything okay? I know you guys have been there already for 2 hours. Like, is it okay? And they were like, yeah, we're doing fine. And like, even Gladys was like, girl, please don't worry about it. And I was just like, oh, okay. I don't know what to do with myself. I guess I'll go eat.
It takes practice. Like, it'll be practice. Like, you have to take practice to do it. And I'm literally saying this because I'm doing it right now, where like yesterday or Wednesday during the assembly day, Wednesday, it was like, 8 or 9 o'clock or something like that. And we were starting to like wrap up and stuff like that. And I was just literally standing there because I'm like, there's so many people and everyone's doing something. And like, I feel bad though if I leave and just go to the room or something and like sleep. But genuinely, there's nothing else I can do here, and there's no way that there's not much that I can help with that wouldn't just be taking away work from somebody else.
All right, we have a quick word from our sponsors, and we will be right back.
It's a beautiful day in Los Angeles, and people are lining the block for a convention that's taking the nation by storm.
So I grow all carnivorous plants.
Don't get it out, be stepping back there.
Welcome back to People of PlantCon.
All right. Speaking of our heading into Dallas and our Dallas experience so far, what did we do last night?
We went to Medieval Times. We had our staff dinner at Medieval Times, which I think has been a really cool thing to also kind of see develop. Is just our like staff appreciation days. I know Houston, I don't think we really did anything other than we had a homemade dinner at our Airbnb that a staff member made for us. And then we just kind of like hung out in our house. And then New York, we had a whole staff day that Monday. But yeah, and then this one we got to do a whole staff outing the night, Thursday night. And so the majority of us went over to Medieval Times. We watched a joust show. We lost our minds a little too much. Everyone, it was really cute also seeing all of us dress up. I think it shows that somehow PlantCon people are all just theater kids, nerds, and theater nerd emo kids. Like we fit the Venn diagram, and PlantCon's in the middle of it. And so it was really cute seeing everyone. We're still exhausted at the end of our first setup day. We know we have an early call time the next day, and we're still, have the energy to go out and celebrate together and in very interesting and fun ways.
And for people who don't know what Medieval Times is, I would describe it as a medieval WWE.
Yes, very much so. I think like halfway through I turned to you, I was like, don't ever take me to a real fight because I think I'm losing my mind already at this.
I think, to quote Tay, I heard her say, kill him, kill him.
Yeah, I did multiple times say, I want to see bloodshed already.
It's choreographed like horse jousting, choreographed like sword fighting. They had a morning star at some point that they were swinging around. And and you turned to me and you were like, I did this combat training when I was in theater. They're doing everything I did.
Yeah. And I mean, I think the like craziest part too was like they're doing like the little jousting competitions where they have to get, the sword through the like little rings and their flags and stuff. And then they're like, okay, now here's the knighting jousting, and this cage comes down to protect us. And I was like, what did we get? Like, how intense is this about to get? And it got intense. There were sparks flying. The wooden joustus broke and like went everywhere. They're throwing their shields everywhere. It was crazy. But yeah, I became a different person last night.
I don't think you became a different person. I think you became who you were always meant to be.
a medieval crowd cheer. I felt like in that scene from Shrek when they're doing the like fighting Shrek, and there's the one audience member that's like, hit him with the chair. Like, yeah, that was me last night.
That was a lot of our team last night.
Yeah. Thank God only Ava got filmed because my video would have been very similar.
We had a video of our aggressive flag waving.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was fun.
All of I forget what the two things about our team are, but somehow everybody's a theater kid. I'm unfortunately not.
Yeah. I feel like you're always two of the three, either a theater kid, anime gaming nerd, or emo.
Yeah, the emo. Yeah,
yeah.
Okay. It was.
We have a big emo group to the point where we are very much debating having a emo themed opening reception.
And that would be so valid.
Yeah. I would like Emo Night LA. If you're listening to this for some reason, when we're in LA, please, I have reached out multiple times. Please respond to me.
Please.
Please. I want you so bad.
I'm just a girl standing in front of an emo night.
No, literally. TJ, please, please. Love me.
I love Medieval Times. I got two double vodka crayons last night.
Mm-hmm.
They serve you a whole chicken.
Yeah, and no utensils. You eat everything with your hands.
Half a potato.
Yeah, a corn. I bought a horn to drink my wine out of. My 9-ounce pour of wine, which is already an insane wine pour.
You were slurping out of that wine horn.
I loved it. I will be reusing that.
I also look over at some point and it looks so insane to see that I was just holding like half a potato and just like gnawing on her half of a potato. So this is actually amazing. Like after we just did this entire setup day, all of our team was like dressed up for it. I loved it. But yeah, it's really cool that we're able to do this fun stuff now. And it's so important to, and the cool thing is like everybody asked to do this and it's not cheap. Medieval times is not cheap. I think for what we got, it was supposed to be like $75, $80 or something like that after tax. But thankfully, as a nonprofit, we get tax exemption. So that saved us, like almost 10% off the ticket. We also like negotiated like a group rate with them because we had so many people. And so it ended up being still kind of expensive, like $50 or so, $55. And everybody on the team was very much willing to pay that themselves because we said like, we announced like, okay, we'll pay for everybody from the company and like, but not everybody can afford it. And so if you guys like, I don't know, want to pitch back in for it, you're very welcome to do that. We have like staff members who literally gave up their entire paychecks saying like, I'll pay for another person or 2 other people or 3 other people. Like,
yeah, a lot of us did like do extra when we put in like how much we wanted to put towards the ticket. Like we thought a lot of people would be like, oh, well, put, half towards my ticket or whatever. But yeah, a lot of people put in extra. So to make sure everyone was included, which is something I really admire about our team. I think it's something no matter what, like anywhere we are, we always make sure everyone feels included. And even if it's people that have like just met 10 minutes ago, we'll make sure to invite them out. If staff is going out doing something, we always post in our on-site chats like, hey, heading to, pizza or something, or, we have a whole like ride share thing on, everyone giving each other rides and stuff like that. It's always really cool to see. I love seeing our staff interact, and it's always interesting to see who like on-site ends up bonding and becoming friends.
I love that. That is definitely a favorite part of PlantCon is seeing people just get closer. And then, next time we travel, we have a travel form that we put out where people can put like preferences for who they want to room with and stuff like that. And then just seeing people start like listing each other as preferred roommates is really sweet. But yeah, for the medieval times thing, like we made it very clear that there's no expectation to pay anything back. Like we're going to cover it, but if you want to, you have the option. And I think basically every single person did, which I feel like I need to go back and be like, okay, like who, like, I feel like it was too much almost because I'm like, we can pay for it. You guys worked so hard. You don't have to give up like chunks of your paycheck for this as well. But we also wanted to be mindful because this is the first time that we've done a team activity that might be a little bit like financially exclusive, I guess. And so we wanted to be mindful that like nobody on our team feels like they can't participate and go on the team bonding because they can't afford it.
I know that's something we've like MJ has talked about too, of like starting a little fund just for when we do like anything team wise of, if their staff member, like we don't want anyone to ever feel excluded because of their financial situations. And so just making sure everyone's always covered no matter what, whether it's, another team member pitching in or, us pitching in and stuff like that. So
yeah, I think that the fact that basically every single team member not like being so on the same page about not wanting anybody else to feel excluded as well, to where like I think pretty much everybody put money back into the fund as well. It's just really sweet. And I don't know, it's cool.
Yeah I mean, at the end of the day, I know it's always kind of cringy to be like, oh, my workplace is my family, but like when it comes to PlantCon, I think because we're so community based and we really thrive and depend on anything community wise, is that we truly are a family at the end of the day. No matter if it's people we've just met or we may not have the most things in common with them, like we look out for each other. I think you were kind of talking about it earlier of the, like, we're all really bad about kind of burning ourselves out on site or like overdoing it because we have so much passion and we want to be so helpful with each other. And so like, I know we're notorious, you'll see, for breaks of like, hey, did you take your break yet? And then being like, no, but did you take your break yet? Or like, hey, did you eat yet? Have you had water? Like we look out for each other at the end of the day. We really make sure, everyone is taken care of because we all know we feel it personally. And I think a lot of us just don't want anyone to ever feel that way, And so, I don't know. It's really special. I love it.
Me too. But it's like, damn girl, I'm just worried about you. You don't have to clock me like that.
Yeah. No, I think post New York, everyone was like, Tay needs to be taken care of. Because yesterday, even at just breakfast, everyone was like, did you eat? Did you drink water? Have you cried yet? And I was like, I'm chilling, guys. I promise. I'm so good this time around.
Like, we don't believe her.
Yeah.
She's lying to us.
Yeah. No pictures of me crying yet. So.
Well, hopefully we get one here in a little bit. But anyways, what are you looking most forward to for PlantCon 2026?
Ooh, I mean, LA. I talk about it all the time. I'm from San Diego. I visit California frequently. All my families, or half of my family, is over there. LA has always just been a very special place in my heart. I really want to, live there for at least a year just to have that experience. I think it's going to be a very different show. Yeah, I'm really excited for it. I think, especially with the team we have now, we have so many people with a lot of experience under their belt. And I think that was a big thing that, as much as we kept saying yeah, we're doing this hiring cycle so people get the experience. We're doing this so people can have 1 PlantCon, 2 PlantCon, 3 PlantCons under their belt. It's something we truly had to keep reminding ourselves of, is these people are new. A lot of these people haven't even attended a PlantCon, let alone worked one. So I think LA is definitely going to be our strongest team. And we have this 4-month period, which feels like a long time, but New York, we had 3 months, and New York felt shorter than the 6 weeks into Dallas we had. So I think it'll go very quick, but I really trust our team now. And I think we have really, really good people with a lot of good ideas that are going to bring a lot to it.
I'm also very, very excited about the 4 months between Dallas and LA, because I think Orlando happened, and I think our team was a little bit rocked by Orlando. We took a huge hit from it. It was a great show, but was just difficult. And so going into Houston, we were all like, let's bring on as many people as we can, because Houston is a good and easy show. It's it's the only show that we're doing twice in the same venue, same floor plan. So it should be as smooth as possible. Otherwise, every other show that we've done, including this upcoming Dallas one, has been at a new venue, which changes so many things all the time. And so Houston is our most stable and consistent show coming up. And so let's bring on as many people as we can, because this will there's not as much pressure, I guess, to train them and get them up to speed, because we can run Houston relatively smoothly, or we know what to expect. And then Houston happened, and we were okay, well now New York has to be a really big training opportunity. We need to bring people on for New York to make sure that they're trained and ready for next year, because we have all these growth plans. And then New York happened, and then we decided we needed to restructure and figure out how many PlantCons we were going to do next year in order to afford the number of full-time roles that we would need in order to run PlantCon smoothly in 2026. So there's just all this stuff that's changing all the time. And there was so much pressure, I think, to make sure that we can fully utilize this next 4-month planning period to the full ability. And I think a lot of that relied and depended on making sure that we had a good team in place in Dallas to basically practice and get that experience, so that over the next 4 months they can get the most out of that as possible, that downtime and the planning period leading into LA. And I think now being here on site in Dallas and seeing how everybody's working is really, really, I don't know, it makes me feel good about this upcoming period, because I'm okay, these next 4 months, everyone is going to be pretty trained up on how to best leverage this planning period, because it's not just 4 months of prep for LA, because once LA happens, we have 2 months till Houston, then 2 months till the next show. And then after that, 2 months till hopefully New York again, and then 2 months from Dallas. It's going to be the tightest turnarounds that we've ever had before, back to back to back to back.
Yeah.
And so these 4 months are basically our only chance to get ahead of this timeline and try to prep as much as possible to make this smooth for ourselves. And so I think there's been a lot of pressure to, utilize this 4 months to the best of our ability, because it's going to be a very different pace than we're used to. So I'm very much like, it's looking up, and I'm also very excited about it. If you had to, looking back, if you had to give yourself advice at the beginning of your PlantCon journey, what would your advice be?
Ooh, probably just trust myself more. I think a big thing that like we literally just said I'm gonna cry on camera. I think a very big thing, and what I'm always so appreciative of PlantCon, and especially just the director team that we have, is like we said, like anything that may be deemed as a failure or that may have been a mistake, we're so gracious about, learning from it and really taking from those experiences and being able to fail. Obviously, like there's some things that are a little too big and will not be, taken with so much grace if it's done wrong. But yeah, I think just really trusting myself and knowing that, like, I know what I'm doing. It's okay to ask for help. And when I'm asking for help, it doesn't mean that I'm doing something wrong or I'm not, doing it up to standard or whatever like that. And just really relying on the support that we have here. I'm always so thankful that you and Gladys have been so amazing supporting me in every single way, even outside of, PlantCon and work and stuff like that. So, yeah, I think just really building that confidence up. I think that's something that I personally have seen in myself grow a lot since becoming a director. And I've always been in, manager roles and assistant studio manager and things like that. But this is the first time that I really felt true like career development in myself, and like feeling like, oh, I have like the resources to do, or even if we don't have the resources, like we'll figure it out. There's nothing I feel that we can't, accomplish or that we can't overcome.
Yeah. So big surprise. I think Gladys's answer, Ava's answer, and my answer were also all to trust yourself.
Yeah.
I don't know. Why do you think that's all of our advice for ourselves so far? Like the most important thing that we could possibly go back and tell ourselves?
I think there's a lot of factors. I think we all come from such different backgrounds, and a lot of us have come from like career paths that didn't directly relate into what we're doing now. I've had the management experience, but I've been all over the place of, photography studio, composting company, Starbucks, corporate, things like that. And I think it's just one, like the work culture. I think of all the places I've been at, there's never been that grace to kind of fail and learn from it. It's always come with like, okay, immediately handed a performance review, or like, hey, you didn't hit KPIs this month. So like, what are we going to do to change that? Versus like actually looking at like, okay, did you not have support? Did you not have the resources you needed? Like, and then on top of it, I think, as we mentioned, we're such a young team and we're in the very early stages of it. And so the events world is always going to be very hard, very high volume, high, like kind of stress. Things are always changing. I mean, even as we've seen just in this year alone, from event to event, we've had very different experiences between Orlando, Houston, New York, Dallas, and the struggles that came with each event were very different. And so, yeah, I think there's just so many factors to it. And, just culturally, millennials and Gen Z are always kind of shat on of like, you're lazy, you don't know what you're doing, you're not knowledgeable. And so, yeah, I think we all kind of hold a little bit of all of that within ourselves. And so, yeah, it's like kind of like when influencers talk about looking at the comment section, there can be like 10,000 good comments and good reviews, but that one bad one is always going to be the one that sticks with you. And I think all of us kind of hold true to that. Like, obviously after New York, I was like, if I see one more comment about the lighting, if I see one more thing about the logistics, I'm going to lose my mind. But yeah, I think, yeah, we've done a really good job of like just taking those experiences and learning from them instead of letting them really fester in us. And it makes me happy to see that all of us have had that reflection within ourselves of just trusting our gut and knowing what we know. And yeah.
You have to let like 75% of everything roll off of you, I feel like. Because the feedback is usually pretty reasonable and usually pretty valid, but you have to like not let it be personal, and you have to also understand that like, yes, if there's something that I could do about that, I will do it, and I would have done it, and it's in the plans also for the future. And so just not feeling the pressure to be like, I don't know, we need to do that now. Like we need to be better 100% now. And it's just like, yeah, everything that's still very much a work in progress. Like we trust ourselves to get there, but now's not the time. So you really have to learn how to let things roll off of you and not get in your head either.
Yeah.
And figure out what's reasonable and what's not. And I think part of your ability to do that is like how psychologically safe you feel to let go of some things as well. And I think that depends really heavily on your team, and your team being reasonable and understanding. Because I do think there are some environments where they're just like, you know, these exhibitors said like XYZ thing and like we're pissing them off. So like you need to do something about it, versus being like, I know that they said this thing. I know you couldn't control it. And, you know, like I see how hard you're working and how much you tried to prepare and ultimately it fell through. But like, that sucks. We're going to do better next time, you know? And I think it's just not anything that any of us have experienced so far in maybe even our personal lives. Definitely not professionally very often. But I think, yeah, especially all of us, I think growing up have had a difficult time, like probably just trusting ourselves and having that confidence, especially, I don't know, we're all still so young too. And I think carving out something new in the industry is very intimidating.
Yeah. I think there's a big difference in like people who are like really good at what they do, and then people who are good at what they do, but then can also still like take feedback, make changes, like really think on their feet, and, you know, just kind of be able to handle it with grace.
Yeah. I think a lot of what Gen Z millennials feeling is just the desire to feel purpose inside of the work that you're doing, and not feeling like you are just an interchangeable part in like a big machine. And that's very much how we function. Like, you know, we want everybody to feel like they are the ones responsible for creating whatever is happening in their role. They're not necessarily interchangeable, but I think a lot of that comes with the pressure of not having a guide or a playbook or exact instructions on how to do things. And so it comes with a lot of pressure to figure it out. And knowing that all comes from you, like if I don't do it, it's not going to happen.
Right.
I think that makes sense why that's a lot of our advice for ourselves, and why there's so much pressure to perform and makes it so easy to doubt yourself.
Yeah.
But all right, that being said, our final conclusions. Is there anything that you want to say to your team?
Ooh. Just that they're rock stars. I mean, I know obviously, like we said, New York was a huge struggle, especially for the logistics team. There were definitely a lot of, you know, very high stress moments, but just like how the directors have had kind of, you know, learned to trust ourselves and stuff, like same for my team. You guys know what you're doing. You have all the resources. You know, it's okay to reach out and stuff, but definitely use the resources you have. And you guys are killing it. I mean, Dallas, by this morning at 8 a.m., all activations were pretty much completely set up, and space markup in our largest venue with the most booths we've ever had to mark up was done in one day, which is kind of insane to think about. And it was done early too. You missed it, but we were karaokeing on the DJ stage as our sound check yesterday at the end of day, to the point where I was just like, I should send these people home. I think we're having too much fun right now. But yeah, you guys are killing it. I'm always here to support you. You have so many, even outside of, you know, me and Ashley. You have so much support from, the other directors, the other heads. And yeah, just keep doing what you're doing. And we're growing together, as we always say. There's so much, even when you feel like, what else can you do? There's always so much development that, we can build in, and that I think we are going to start building in 2026.
A lot. Agreed.
A lot.
Okay, that being said, where can people find you online or connect with you?
My Instagram is _TVTay. I think that's really all I got. That's like public. And yeah,
SoundCloud.
Yeah, my future DJ career when I start doing PlantCon boiler rooms, Aquaman, AWKWAMAN, like awkward and then man.
Yeah, keep an eye out.
Yeah, if you ever get killed on Fortnite by a Hatsune Miku that is Aquaman, that's me. Probably won't happen, but I'm not that good.
Yeah, speaking of Hatsune Miku, these are the Hatsune Mikus that we want. It's okay. Yeah, we had a little day where we went to Grapevine Mills Mall, and we went to round one, and we played a lot of crane games together. And that was Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I won a sitting Hatsune Miku.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else that you want to promote other than Hatsune Miku and Fortnite?
I think just right now, and we can cut this S1E2, but I don't think we will, but just getting involved in your community right now, especially the climate in the US is both the actual climate and the political climate are just very intense right now. And I know, like I mentioned, that's a big thing. And that's something that makes me really happy with PlantCon, that I'm able to, be able to say we're, mostly queer group of directors and, a lot of POC and just very interesting backgrounds of everyone in PlantCon. And so, yeah, just get involved with your local communities, get out there, register to vote, support, do research on the organizations that you're supporting, give back when you can. Yeah, that's all I really got.
So selfless.
I don't have anything. I'm not a business owner.
Yeah.
Yet.
Houston Plant Swap. Come out to Houston Plant Swap.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Houston, if you're Houston local, Houston Plant Market, Houston Plant Swap.
They work so hard on these events. We have a separate team that works on Houston Plant Market.
Yeah.
And they care so much about it. All of them work a full-time job on the side and do Houston Plant Market as a passion project. But
and a lot of them are on PlantCon too.
Yeah. And Houston Plant Market is usually at least 2 times a month, sometimes 3 times a month. So these people are working 9 to 5, 5 days a week, and then giving up their weekends to also host these events for the community. So if you're ever in the Houston area, please look into that. And I do believe, a little spoiler, I don't know if this is saying too much, but after Dallas, I think we're going to start talking with some of our team members about doing a New York plant market as well.
Yeah, I know we're definitely looking to expand and bring more plant markets, because I know we get a lot of inquiries about PlantCon and plant markets and when are you coming into this city? And it's very hard, I think, coming to new cities if, there's lower populations, they may not be as big. There's so many factors, I think, like Orlando specifically taught us about, of like population sizes, how many people are going to commute, and like, how many transplants are there, how much tourism is there. But I think getting started with the plant markets in new cities is going to be really cool.
Yeah. I think also it's difficult to show up to a new city as PlantCon once a year and only basically be engaged in that community once a year, than just leaving right after.
Yeah.
Especially when I think Dallas is fine, because Dallas is a very, very thriving local plant community, and they keep their events up throughout the year. And they're the reason why we started the whole like community booth at PlantCon, which is basically a space that we dedicate to the local communities that exist in the cities that we're going to already, because they're the ones that were there before we arrive doing the work to build the plant community up, and ultimately we'll be there after we leave as well. And so we want to make sure to support them, elevate them, and highlight them in PlantCon as well. But in New York, I think that's something that's lacking a little bit, is the consistency of like plant events and well executed plant events, because New York is such a transient city. People are moving all the time. And so we can establish something stable there for like a plant market idea. I think that would be really cool. But I think the next 4-month planning period will also be a little bit about that. And I would love to get that going before PlantCon New York City and have that leading into New York City as well.
Yeah.
Do you have any last thoughts otherwise?
I don't think so.
Any last words?
Head empty, no thoughts.
Beautiful.
Only
This is how
these
we want-
thoughts.
Yeah. None of them
thoughties.
good. Not a single good one either.
Not podcast appropriate.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for talking to everybody about the logistics experience and just about your time with PlantCon as well.
Yeah. Thanks
And
for
your
having
journey.
me.
Yeah. And thank you to everybody who is here listening as well. Next episode, we will be talking to Cameron Ortman, who is our director of operations and our youngest baby on the team, both in age, or on the director team, both in age and
Is
in
he
tenure.
really?
Yeah.
He's younger than Ava.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize that.
Only by a year.
That's crazy.
He has a newly developed frontal lobe.
I love it. Meanwhile, I'm the oldest and most developed frontal lobe.
How scary is that?
You know, I'm y'all's elder, which is crazy that like the oldest director is only 31.
Yeah,
You know.
that is actually insane.
Mm-hmm. Okay, bye.
Bye. Besitos, besitos.
It's just me and my plants.
PlantCon Talks is created and hosted by me, Kenny Kong. Our showrunner is Ava McCain, with sound engineering by Trent Gear, and to the incredible PlantCon staff, as well as the attendees, ambassadors, vendors, and volunteers that make PlantCon possible. Huge thanks to Rocco Elliot for the use of his music. Stay up to date with all things PlantCon at plantcon.org or by following us on social media at plantcon.intl.